Richard Sorsky from the National Insolvency Helpline is in our central London studio. Very good evening to you, Richard Sorsky. How bad are things at the moment? What are you seeing coming through your doors?
Well, we're very much at the front line of insolvency. We take about 10 to 15,000 calls a week, and there's a huge surge in IVAs. There's been a huge surge in bankruptcies. We're very much talking to the individuals and we're finding out if they're homeowners. And the attractiveness of IVAs is your house is not at risk. And the beauty about the IVA is that you pay back just what you can comfortably afford without losing your property or losing your lifestyle. But with bankruptcy, of course, if you're not working or you're unemployed or you're on incapacity or sickness benefits, you don't have the luxury of looking at an IVA. It has to be bankruptcy.
Why are people getting in such dire straits over debt, though?
Well, that's quite a simple question, actually, because if you think about it, every time you go shopping to the supermarket or to a big shopping centre and you go to buy even something, a pair of shoes, the person behind the counter says to you, "Would you like a store card, sir? You'll get 10% off this purchase, and you'll get prior notice of any future sales." And of course, you think, "I'm going to get a good deal," so you take a store card. Of course, every shop is pushing credit because they're getting commission from the provider of the credit. So credit is the preferred way to buy things now, especially from the viewpoint of the shops, who are getting huge commissions from it. They're pushing credit like it's a drug almost.
Endless temptation. On top of that, of course, we've seen this week this idea from one of the banks, the Abbey, and no doubt others will follow, 5 times your salary now on offer for a mortgage. Is that a worry to you?
Absolutely, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, we've got a team of about 100 people possibly just advising on mortgage shortfalls, and we're seeing a lot of people now being repossessed because they've taken on interest-only mortgages, hoping that interest rates wouldn't increase, but of course they have, and they've been fluctuating quite a lot, and people are losing their jobs, and of course that means they're losing their houses, and the banks are responsible because they're lending far too much. But unfortunately, property prices are huge at the moment.
Indeed. I know you're saying that shops are out there pushing store cards, that banks are out there pushing mortgages and loans. Where does personal responsibility come into this? We can't blame it all on people putting temptation our way, can we?
Well, that's a very good question. What came first, of course, the lender or the spender? I think there's always been credit facilities available, but the banks, of course, are profit-making entities. They're pushing these credit facilities. But the interesting thing is the banks are now getting upset at IVA providers or debt advice providers because debt advice providers are telling people how to get out of debt. And it's a little bit like cigarette companies being upset with nicotine patch companies for curing the problem. And what we say to people is be very, very wary of the companies that you see advertising heavily, get out of your debt, wipe out 75% of your debt, little known government legislation, use it. Always use a proper helpline. We've got a lot of staff advising on IVAs and bankruptcy. Just be very careful, don't fall for the ads. That's the big point we're trying to get across to people.
Richard Sorsky from the National Insolvency Helpline, thank you very much. Some good advice for people this Friday.
Thank you very much.